All right, the news that we're breaking right on the top at 7 p.m. is that the MHA has announced an extension of the lockdown for 2 more weeks. So we are now looking at lockdown 3.0, which will last till the 17th of May. The fine print, the modality of this lockdown is going to be given out. The MHA has also issued, like I said, guidelines to regulate different activities in the next 2-week period after Lockdown 2.0 expires on the 3rd of May. Now, word coming in, and we're going to delve deeper into the fine print of the modalities of Lockdown 3.0, which starts post the 3rd of May. Interstate movement by road will still be banned. So no matter where you are, if you want to travel from one state to the other, you cannot. And that will stay till the 17th of May. Air, train travel to remain completely suspended. So there will be no commercial traveling of air and train, whether domestic or international. All of that remains suspended till the 17th of May. That's the latest that we are getting in. We're going to continue to get our viewers the fine print of this lockdown. Now, if you do know that till now there has been a basic definition of graded zones across the country. It all depends where you fall, whether you are in the green zone, the orange zone, or the red zone. Now, if you're in the red zone, nothing will possibly change for you after the 3rd of May for the next 2 weeks. Life will pretty much remain the same of what you have been experiencing in the last 1 month. That is, if you're in a containment red zone. However, there will be certain relaxation if you're in a green zone. We are going to continue giving our viewers the very latest. Now, we are giving you point by point on what remains suspended till the 17th of May and what possibly in terms of leeways that could be given. Even till the 17th May, if you are in Delhi or any other city which has the metro line non-functional, will not happen. Schools, colleges, malls, everything will remain shut till the 17th of May, no matter what state you're in. So that's a blanket ban. No schools will open, no colleges will open, no malls will open come the 17th of May. Air travel, rail travel, all stands suspended. Individual movement for non-essential activities is banned between 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Now, whether it's open between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. in what zones is the question we are going to address. We are going to cut across to our reporters who will be joining us shortly. But when we say individual movement for non-essential activities banned between 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., if you're in a containment zone, this does not apply to you. We are going to get in a word on what exactly this means, but one thing which was banned no matter which zone you might be residing in, that is air and train travel. Commercial air and train travel stands suspended till the 17th of May. No metros, interstate road travel will happen. So if you might want to, say, move from one state to the other, you cannot do so. It's not allowed till the 17th of May. Schools, colleges, coaching centers, all will remain shut till the 17th of May. Cinema halls, malls, gymnasiums will not open. Salons will not open. Public religious gathering prohibited. So most of the rules are continuing. We are going to read the fine print and the modalities of this lockdown. It's coming through. Certain commercial activity in green zones is already being allowed. So if you do understand, if you're living in a green zone, then possibly some of the economic activity you would have already seen restarted. There are parts of the agrarian economy that are being reactivated in certain states. Certain industrial activity in green zones is now going to be activated. However, what is the fine print if you are in a metro? What happens? I want to cut across right now to my colleague Ankit Tyagi, who's joining us right now from the newsroom, who's going to talk us through the modalities and the fine print of this lockdown. Ankit, there are a lot of questions that are being asked right now. What does it mean when a modality comes up which says non-essential travel between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. is not allowed? Is from 9 a.m., 9 p.m. is non-essential travel allowed?
So, Preeti, let's just first understand what is essential and non-essential travel. It has already been classified in the lockdown 1.0, in which people those who are going out to buy groceries, people those who are going out to buy, medicine and essential commodities, they have now been told that, these are the essential commodities which can be, in fact, will exist as it was in so far in the first phase of the lockdown and the second phase of lockdown. Apart from that, for any other thing, there is absolute ban. It's a curfew-like situation between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. until and unless you are going out for purchase or for specific.
What does it mean between? Does that mean that there is certain leeway that is going to be given from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and in what zones will this leeway be given?
That is exactly what I'm telling you, Preeti. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., people, those who are going out for essential purposes will be allowed. For non-essential purposes, it has been classified. In the red zones, it would not be allowed. But in the other zones, that are the green zones and orange zone, there are certain conveniences, certain restrictions which have been eased. Now, let me very quickly tell you what are the things which will be allowed in the red zones, in the restriction zones. In the red zones, there will be no movement of taxis or cabs, no interstate movement, no local buses, barber shops, spas, salons will stay shut, shops selling non-essential commodities will remain shut. And and also in the containment zones, there will be home delivery of all the essential items. Apart from that, movement of individuals for permitted activities will be allowed in the red zones. Standalone neighborhood shops, which have already been, in fact, started all across the country, that will continue in the red zones as well. There will also be online delivery of essentials, which will continue in the red zones, not in the hotspots or the containment zones within the red zones. Apart from that, private and government offices with the strength of 33% will now start functioning even in the red zones.
Okay.
Industries, SEZs with access control.
Ankit, break this down for viewers for a larger understanding. Let's say, can you give us a definition of what is the new definition of a red zone? What if there is somebody who lives in a containment zone, say in Delhi, but Delhi is the entire national capital red zoned? Or will we have, say, possible, areas in the national capital which haven't had some cases where certain amount of leeway would be given?
See, there are certain leeway and certain concessions which have been made in the red zones across the country. The containment zones will remain as is. So even if you are in a red zone, but you're like, let's say Delhi, all districts of Delhi are in red zone, but Nizamuddin West is a containment zone. So the situation in Nizamuddin West will continue as it is right now. There will be absolutely no movement.
So what changes for anyone else who is not in a containment zone but is in a red zone?
So if you are in a red zone, Preeti, like you are able to go to a shop in a standalone shop in your market, essential services which are fruit shop, vegetable shop, medicine shop, all that as is will continue as it is.
Right.
The other concessions which have been made in the red zones are also that there will be construction activity where workers can stay on site.
Right.
So this has been extended to the red zones as well, and there are certain other concessions which have been given.
Okay, we're going to talk a bit more about those concessions, Ankit. I have Kamaljeet Sandhu joining us. So, for viewers who are a little confused, let me put this in perspective. If you're in a metro and you're in a red zone, practically nothing much really changes for you. What was the new normal in the last 1 month will continue for you exactly like that for the next 2 weeks. That is if you're in a red zone. I want to connect right now. I believe I have Kamaljeet Sandhu and I also have our Mumbai Bureau Chief, Sahil Joshi, who is joining us. Kamal, you have the latest fine print of Lockdown 3.0 by the MHA. Shed some light on it. What changes, what doesn't change? If you're in a red zone, if say, and most metros are red zoned today, if you are in one of those metros which are red zone, does anything change at all?
Yes, PT, the third lockdown itself has a lot of relaxation for all the 3 zones. This also includes the red zone. For instance, we are standing in CP right now. The intrastate movement is not allowed. Metros are all shut. Shops, marketing complexes, gyms, malls, they're all shut. But limited amount of activity will be allowed. That means standalone shops around your neighborhood areas will be open. This is also means that the entire town will not be painted red per se. That means if there is a society where there are cases of COVID, there is a distinction being made as to what that number is, what's the doubling rate, what's the identification. So all these are taken into measures, but they are saying they're limiting the containment zone within the red zone. That means more or less the activity, the economic activity will be allowed. Now this is extremely crucial because what MHA has now done is has had more relaxation for orange and maximum relaxation for green zone. That means this is an economic stimulus. Again, the industrial area in urban sectors have been allowed in a very big way. These are SEZ, these are also private offices which have been allowed in orange and green zone. 50% of the staff can be back. So a lot of workforce we will see on Monday onwards who will be joining back, but the social distancing norm, a mask will still be there. There is obviously a deadline which has been kept, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. A 12-hour shutdown of complete send for non-essential items, non-essential services. That means in most probability all offices will be shut at 6:30 so that people can go back home by 7 p.m. Again, there are guidelines which are issued. That means between that particular period, section 144 will be in place in all across the country. That means 4 people or more cannot assemble together. The other is the vulnerable group, which is above age of 65, people with comorbidities. These are people, these are children below 10 years of age, anybody with medical ailment. They cannot step out of their residence. This is very, very clear in the MHA guideline. The third is the OPD and the clinics will be open in all zones. This was previously not there. And if somebody does not open up its clinic in red zone also will be questioned as to why. So clearly this is to bring in ease. This is also that this is going to be a longer normal area. Again, let me say all kind of transport is, public transport is particularly prohibited in all areas. This is to contain people wherever they are. Now the big initiative is that buses, trains with migrant labours have been allowed to ensure that this kind of stumbling block does not happen. So clearly a very detailed guideline. Essential part, Preeti, is that the e-commerce is back in a big way, especially in the orange and green zones. Many people are talking about the alcohol bit. So a lot of people have been joking about it, tweeting about it. That has also been allowed in areas, but these are going to be standalone shops. So marketing areas like these will be closed, but standalone shops in your particular area will still be open if they're not in containment zone. So this is going to be a big relief. Essential, non-essential items, shops going to be open in a big way, but not malls, not in marketing complexes, but your neighborhood shop.
You know, Kamal, will you stay with me? Kamal, stay with me because I want to come right back and maybe you can gather more information on that. What happens to, like you said, that certain offices, certain economic activities would be opened out? What happens to offices in New Delhi? Because this is a red zone. But we'll say, you know, centers that are in Gurgaon, will that open out? Because Gurgaon is right now an orange zone. I want to get in a little more deeper about that, but I want to cut across right now to Sahil Joshi, and I also believe we have our National Affairs Editor, Rahul Srivastav, who's joining us. Sahil, I'll come to you. Maharashtra is a state recording the highest number of cases. Mumbai in particular is red zone. What changes for Mumbai and what is the effect of lockdown 3.0 in the state of Maharashtra?
You know, to tell you the truth and tell you, to tell the Mumbaikars and the people who are staying in the MMR region, nothing changes for them. So let me tell them very clearly that nothing changes for them because the guidelines, it's around 16-pointer guideline, the revised guidelines sent by the MHA, which clarifies, and of course the state government will also come up with their own guidelines based on the guidelines sent by the MHA. It's very clear that the areas which fall into the municipal corporation zone, because there are many districts in which there are areas within the municipal corporation zone and there are areas which are outside the municipal corporation zone. Now the place like Mumbai and the region around Mumbai like Thane, Navi Mumbai and other regions, everything falls inside the municipal corporation zone, and that's why these areas are in the red zone at this point of time. The whole district itself is in the red zone, and it is very clear in the MHA guidelines that there are certain norms which are now not prohibited in rest of the areas, but in red zones these things also will be prohibited. So what will be prohibited? The auto rickshaws, taxi services, the local trains, then the barber shops, any shop which is providing the services which will be prohibited. So of course, as it was earlier in last 30 odd days, the way Mumbaikars could go out and buy vegetables, they can go and do that. They can buy essential services. They can venture out of the houses to buy essential services. They cannot venture out of the houses just like that. Other than that, if they have any work, only then they can go out. And that is also specifically for something like medical emergencies or any emergency
Sahil,
condition.
net in Mumbai, Pune and the other red zone areas in Maharashtra, nothing changes. But what changes? Can you take us through what changes in Maharashtra?
Okay, so the areas which are in the red zone, but which fall, the districts which are in the red zone, but which falls outside the municipal corporation districts, so which are not densely populated, which are outskirts of the municipal corporation, can have some more relaxation. There the shops can open. If there will be a differentiation between the red zone within municipal corporation district and red zones outside municipal corporation districts. So this is one part. In the green zones in Maharashtra, of course, the Maharashtra government has already come up with a guideline that they can start the economic activities, they can start the factories, the limited services can be started. The inter-district services yet not started, but of course, now that the MHA is allowed to have the migrants travel back to their own states, it looks like that the government is now preparing the list of people who wants to go back and arranging things for them. The district collectors are going to be the nodal officers for that. So basically, the people who are in green zone, a lot of things change for them. The shops can open, the services can open, not the inter-district services, not the trains and all that. But yes, life will be more easier than that of the people who are staying in the red zone.
Certain semblance of what was the old way returning to possibly certain green zones, Sahil. But if you're in Mumbai, Pune, nothing changes. Life is pretty much exactly what it was over the last 1 month. The new normal continues for you. Appreciate you joining me, Sahil. I want to take in a quick word from our National Affairs Editor, Rahul Srivastav. Rahul, I believe you do have the MHA guidelines with you. Will you take us through the fine print? When it says certain relaxations in the red zone, what does it mean? Sahil gave us that example for the state of Maharashtra and Mumbai particularly.
See, Preeti, one very important distinction which I think this guideline makes, and eventually I think it is with a view on what is the reality on the ground. The biggest problem the governments were facing was vis-a-vis migrant workers, industrial laborers, agricultural laborers, and others. There was a huge crisis of employment. And I think this guideline, if you go through number 9, that a large number of other activities are allowed in the red zones. All industrial construction activities in rural areas, including MNREGA works. Remember that in the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, announced earlier by Nirmala Sitharaman, the MNREGA wages were increased. But at that time, there were not much beneficiaries because MNREGA activities were curtailed. Now, MNREGA activities in rural areas have been cleared. Food processing units, brick kiln. Brick kiln are a large employer in the rural countryside. That's where employment will be allowed. In rural areas, without distinction to the nature of goods, all shops except shopping malls are permitted. What is being done is that if migrants are moving back to their home states or migrants are somewhere stuck in some states, MNREGA and other activities are being permitted along with all agriculture activities, sowing, harvesting, procurement. Remember, agriculture remains 58% employer in the country. And that is what one indication is, that this new guideline is taking care of the employment
Rahul,
of the
before I let you go, I want to ask you one quick question. All right, so there is going to be a certain reactivation of the agrarian economy, the rural economy as well, a bit of it in terms of the industrial economy in places which are green zoned. I want to ask you, what if you're living in a metro and you are in red zone? Does anything actually really change for you?
You see, there are certain restrictions which have been eased. That in the red zone, there are certain activities which are across the activity which have been stopped. Now, movement of individuals and vehicles is allowed only for permitted activities with a maximum of 2 persons and in a 4-wheeler and others. So what one can say is that industrial establishments in urban areas, SEZs, export-oriented units and others have been permitted. So certain permissions of entities which are into production and otherwise, which can ensure social distancing protocols. Remember, that's one criteria the government is looking, that industrial and other activities which have a wherewithal to handle social distancing protocol, can enforce them. They are being permitted. say manufacturing of IT hardware, supply chain manufacturers, construction activities in urban areas limited to construction where workers are available on site.
Right.
So there are certain little windows being opened,
right,
but only subject to social distancing
right.
protocols.
And those little windows might be open, but if there is no migrant labor right now in these metros, then how will that actually feed that economic activity? Lots of questions. We're going to continue answering them right here on the network. It's a quick wrap. I appreciate you joining us. Rahul Srivastav, Kamaljeet Sandhu getting us the fine print which is emerging of Lockdown 3.0 from the MHA, and my colleague Sahil Joshi. Thank you all for joining us. It's a quick wrap. Up next is Rahul Kamal. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.